there were certain rumors at the time about, I think one of which was that J. Edgar Hoover was a cross-dresser, and the other was that the U.S. created the AIDS virus.
There was a directorate in the KGB that came up with these phony stories, and what they did, in those days, primarily they placed them into printed media and maybe radio, and they used sort of sympathetic left-wing publications in Europe, let's say in France, and it would be picked up by American publications, and before you know it, it became public knowledge that Hoover was a cross-dresser, and Mitrokhin clearly said that was concocted in a KGB office, and that the CIA invented the AIDS virus. Mitrokhin also indicates that a lot of these false stories didn't take hold at all, because if you want to place fake news into a society that you don't know how it works, you have a hard time being successful. It's and these were the least desirable jobs. Nobody wanted to do these jobs, and so if you were they didn't have top-notch people in these departments. They just sat there at their desk and tried to figure something out. Yeah, and this sort of invalidates. I forgot his last, Mr. Bezmenov.
Yuri Bezmenov?
Yuri Bezmenov, who came to the U.S. He was, I don't know if he was a defector, low-level defector, but he wasn't really a KGB to begin with. He wasn't a KGB employee. He was a collaborator with the KGB or a low-level KGB. But he operated in India. Okay, so assuming that there was, how would a fellow in India know about that massive project to feed massive false information and systematically undermine the United States? How would he know about this when I know that the KGB was super, super secret? Secondly, knowing what I know, even the best of them, the best of the agents that I worked with, the diplomats who knew something about the United States, knew next to nothing, in terms of really making this systematic effort to, destroy the United States from within. That was just a big old lie. And oh, by the way, there's still a lot of people who believe in that in the United States. It's very convenient because it's not really us. It's Russian interference. Now, the Russians have become a lot better at it because there's a whole lot more knowledge within Russia now about how the United States works because, we have exchange students, we have, business being done together, and there's cultural exchanges. And I mean, we know, the Russians know much more about how the United States works, and they use technology also very, very well. And we know more about how Russia works. I think they know more about us than we know about them. But it's still, Bezmenov was a liar.
So for people that haven't seen what we're talking about with Bezmenov, there's an interview that he gives where he essentially outlines a 4-step plan. Step 1 is demoralization, which takes 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Step 2, destabilization. Step 3, crisis, and step 4, normalization. So as you said, it's an elaborate plan to basically misinform Americans and pit them against each other. And I think to your point, people go back and they see that now, and it's a very old looking interview, and it just seems, because of what's going on in this country and everybody's kind of up against each other and at arms all the time, that it's prophetic. And I think that's why people are interested by it.
The plan that he came up with is actually brilliant, but they didn't have the instrument to execute on it. No way, not the knowledge, not the people, no. Not in those days. Nowadays, I think we're doing most of the harm to ourselves, but the Russians help out a little bit, for sure.
Right. There's probably, the Russians, the Chinese, maybe they
Yeah.
create fake bots is what they're called on social media. They add fuel to the fire. But
Sure.
what you're saying is the fire was already lit regardless of them.
Yeah, we are angry with one another quite a bit, and the glue that made us the United States has been melting quite a bit. It looks like it might come back together, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
And I saw your interview, one of your two with Patrick Bet-David, where you guys talked about Bezmenov.
and
it
he
got
had the gall to argue with me.
Well, I think what he was trying to, again, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but as a listener, what it seemed like he was trying to do is just take Bezmenov out of the equation and talk about the actual ideological submersion and ask you, like, doesn't this seem like this is what's happening today? But why did that become such a point of contention between you two?
Well, again, that means we are not willing to take accountability of what's happening internally in the country. You point this way, okay, and I have been an observer of the political scene. I'm not politically active, and I never will be. But the rift between the left and the right was obvious, had become very obvious, as opposed to when we had a president named Bill Clinton, there was really good cooperation. So did the Russians or external forces make that go away? I don't think so. Never mind whether Clinton was a moral man or not, but he worked with who was it? It was the head of Congress. They did something like workfare. I mean, you couldn't do something like that today unless you have a solid majority. And this was Republicans and Democrats working on the same thing. So that had melted by the time I had to fight with Patrick. But he called me back after that. So he argues, but he doesn't take things personally.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the interview. If you got anything out of this video at all, please like the video, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, tell me who you'd like to see on the show. I really appreciate the support. It goes a long way on these platforms, as you guys know. Most importantly, I have some excellent interviews coming up in the future that I'm really, really excited about. So please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of them. But that's it. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you again soon.